I think that feels like a nice package there.
Yeah.
Wow, look at those phones lined up. It's Felger and Maz on 98.5, the Sports Hub.
The transition, obviously, from AC and everybody was different, but for you to have some familiarity with these guys, how much does that allow you to kind of just feel out the game and be a little bit more at ease?
Yeah, I mean, it's been good. Obviously, it's been a crazy couple of days. A lot of people that we loved as a team go. Wishing all of them the best, but at the same time, we got to look forward. Tracy and Epi are two of my favorite managers that I've ever had since I started playing baseball, so super stoked for them to be here. We know that Tracy's going to do a great job, and we have his back.
5-0 final over Dylan Cease and the American League pennant defending champion Toronto Blue Jays. And that's where we're going to start today with Big Jim Murray in the Mavs chair, who's off this week. Matt McCarthy in our update studio. Hi, guys.
Hi, Mike.
Hi, Mike.
Is it just me, or did Floridian slip. Did Marcelo Mayer sound good there?
Oh, yeah. No, he's very happy. Happiest guy in Boston right now.
Thrilled that the man that was holding him down, Alex Cora, is no longer here.
Well, now I feel like you're jumping to conclusions there, Murray. I'm just sort of starting with the fact. I'm just asking generally, how did Marcelo Mayer sound right there?
Happy.
Loose.
Yeah. Unburdened.
And he was talking like, I've got, what's the new guy's name?
Oh, Chad Tracy.
I've committed to not remember the name. I got his back. I just another question without drawing any conclusions. Was Alex Cora busting Marcelo Mayer's balls all spring training?
Yes, he
sure was.
Because he wanted him to be a professional. Yes.
Right. And the second base job isn't his. And nothing's so like that started from early in spring training, right?
Yep, needed to earn it.
Okay, so now again, we're just dealing with the facts. They win last night. Marcelo Mayer had a couple of hits, right?
Yeah, he was great. 2 for 3 RBI.
And
Hit
again,
off a lefty on Sunday. He's been good.
Again, how did he sound there last night?
Happy.
Okay, discuss.
Happy. What's there to say? Again, I think he's been unburdened by Alex Cora, who had a thing for Marcelo Mayer, and not just Marcelo Mayer. I think it's clear the way he's managed in recent years, he really preferred and deferred often to guys that were more established major league players, even if those established major league players kind of suck. Whether it's Trevor Story, Abraham Toro, guys like that. In the past, Abraham Toro was all right, but you get what I mean. More often than not, he had his thumb on the scale, and when it comes to guys like Marcelo Mayer, and making it way more difficult than it probably should be, even if they might be a little bit immature, for them to get playing time. So now Marcelo Mayer, Roman Anthony, others probably feel happy that Alex Cora is gone. I don't think that I'm jumping to conclusions there.
McCarthy, what do you think?
Well, yeah, I mean, you hear Roman Anthony's comments on Sunday. All of a sudden, Roman Anthony's back in the lineup. Roman Anthony and Marcelo Mayer are boys. We've known this for many years now. So what I think you're seeing here is a divide in that Red Sox clubhouse between veteran players, Trevor Story, who's devastated that Alex Cora is gone, and Marcelo Mayer, who couldn't be happier that Alex Cora is gone because Cora busted the balls of the young players, didn't want to coach young players, talked about that repeatedly ad nauseum, was going to make them earn it. And don't get me wrong, I mean, I do think there has to be some of that. I'd be really concerned about letting Marcelo Mayer get away with the stuff that Marcelo Mayer has probably gotten away with for many years in this organization.
Like what?
Like, I think probably caring about some other things besides baseball. He's a guy who hasn't played a lot in the minor leagues. I think, the sense I've gotten on Marcelo Mayer is that, well, maybe the Red Sox wish he had played a little bit more and played through some injuries in the minor leagues. So I think Cora saw a young, immature kid who he was probably trying to get the most out of by busting his balls, but Mayer's not going to respond to that. So the divide in the clubhouse was real between the young players and the old players, and you're seeing that with the pure joy and just excitement that Marcelo Mayer has in his voice that Alex Cora is gone.
So this will be, I think, the number one thing to track going forward. And going forward, does the team get more out of the young players on the team and the future of the team? And I think it's fair. It was clear the approach that Cora was taking with Marcelo Mayer. And
didn't it feel? I'm sorry to cut you off, but didn't it really feel like a bit much with Mayer? Like,
yes,
he's been immature. And look, how Alex Cora, I think, had it with the likes of someone like Tristan Casas, who is insufferable. I don't blame him there, but as spring training went along and we got into this season, the thing with Marcelo Meyer felt like, all right, buddy, like what kind of point are you trying to prove with this kid here? It felt a bit much.
So this is where we're going to start with the fallout still from the firing of Alex Cora and where the Red Sox stand today. 617-779-0985. McCarthy wanted to really pick apart a story that landed during our show yesterday, so we didn't have fully time to digest it. I didn't until overnight. But McCarthy thinks that in this Julian McWilliams used to write for the Globe, correct?
Yep.
He used to cover the Red Sox for the Globe, now writes for CBS Sports. So he's got some, good insights into the Red Sox and probably a bit unburdened by the fact that he doesn't have to go in there every day and deal with those a-holes. So just kind of the sweet spot in terms of reporting. And he had a story that you think has some rock throwing going on here.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, first and foremost, this is a hatchet job, a Craig Breslow hatchet job on Trevor Story. Not that I'm complaining about that, by the way. And again.
So you're saying, I'm sorry, this is a hatchet job on Craig Breslow or Craig Breslow hatcheting other people?
Well, a big part of the story is Craig Breslow hatcheting Trevor Story. I mean, I think not all of this article comes from the front office side of it, but a lot of the front office side of it is directed at Trevor Story and his poor performance, which, no surprise, this comes out yesterday morning after Story's comments the other day. So again, this goes back to veteran players, young players, the divide within that clubhouse, and now the fight that's probably going to exist between guys like Story and guys like Breslow. Breslow's going to give more opportunities. Tracy, as a result, is going to give more opportunities to guys like Marcelo Meyer at the detriment of Trevor Story. And this was I don't want to call it a preemptive strike against Story because Story struck first, but this was a strike back at Trevor Story, this article.
Well, let's give some examples. The disconnect on the field, writes McWilliams, circles back to Story. There were those in the organization who believed Story was past his prime and no longer capable of being an everyday impact player. There were those in the organization, McCarthy, you think that's obviously Craig Breslow?
Yes. Of course, undeniably. I mean, Cora was a Story guy. The only thing I'd say to this is, yeah, you guys probably believed it. You didn't act on it. He's still there. So, if you really believed that he was past his prime, shouldn't you have an alternative?
Yeah.
I mean, your infield sucks. So, it's nice of you to say you're probably right about it, but you didn't do anything about it.
Even in the 2025 season, in which Story started slow but finished with 25 home runs and 96 RBI, the front office was not fully convinced, pointing to underlying metrics that suggested the production was not sustainable. So there's an internal fight over Trevor Story, and Alex Cora sort of wins out. Is that what you're implying?
Well, Cora won out at least at the beginning of this year, but the story goes on to say, quote, this year when Cora moved Story into the two-hole, the decision raised questions internally. So, again, Cora was a Story guy. Breslow was not. And now that Cora is out of the picture, Story starts throwing bombs at ownerships and starts throwing bombs at the front office, and this is the front office throwing bombs back at him. So it still hasn't been resolved. It still hasn't been fixed, but I'm going to tell you it's not going to end well for Trevor Story in the end.
They went so far as to suggest they being, he just says they.
No, this is me.
This is you, right? So it was unclear in your email what was you and what was McMillian. They meaning who? Who's they?
The Red Sox.
The Red Sox, who you think are the source in this story, went so far as to suggest David Hamilton is better than Story. They probably don't believe it, but they want to insult Story in the media for his antics the other day. Now here is an excerpt from the story. The front office was bullish on former Red Sox infielder David Hamilton during his time with the club, believing his speed, defensive versatility, overall athleticism, and underlying metrics made him a clear asset. Perhaps even more so than Story, a former All-Star in the latter stages of his career. So again, you think that is the front office there saying, well, we thought David Hamilton was even better.
Yeah, that's a real difficult argument to make given you traded him. But, that is a real shot at Trevor Story. You suck so much that David Hamilton is better than you. We think David Hamilton is better than you. Shut up, buddy. That's the purpose of this column. I mean, it is a hatchet job on Trevor Story.
Well, again, we need to flush that out with examples. The front office, though still confident in Hamilton, traded him to the Brewers during the offseason. When he returned this month and played well against the Red Sox, the front office again questioning the coaching staff's developmental process with younger players. Quote, why do a lot of players go to other places and get better? one source said of the questions being asked. Why do other guys come here and get worse? So, again, I can't tell if this is you or McWilliams. From the front office perspective, the program lacked structure and was not conducive to consistent player development.
Yeah, that's McWilliams. But my point would be, if you're fighting over David Hamilton, how much dysfunction do you have in your organization? If you've got the front office saying David Hamilton's good, Alex Cora says David Hamilton sucks, then you trade David Hamilton, and now you're saying, well, we shouldn't have traded David Hamilton because he was always better than Trevor Story in the first place. Doesn't it speak to the overall dysfunction and the infighting in the organization if now David Hamilton is the guy you're holding up as this is how big a problem Alex Cora was?
Can I just give you my thought? If there's not a consensus opinion from everyone that David Hamilton sucks, then you don't know what you're looking at. He's just a guy. He sucks. He's fast. What else does he do?
So I don't think they actually believe this. I think they're so mad at Story.
They're just using this.
That they're using Hamilton as an example.
They didn't really think David Hamilton could play, did they?
No, they traded him.
He sucks. He's just another fast guy.
And even if they think he's being used differently, and look, he was able in that series, able to draw walks, and he bunted things he wasn't doing here last year.
Well, it's because the Brewers let him bunt. They weren't bunting here, but go ahead.
But isn't this, so what I need told to me isn't that the Red Sox and these nerds' philosophy? How much did Alex Cora and that coaching staff really hold him down last year when he walked 13 times in 91 games, and he already has 11 walks this year? So who are they mad at? Like, again, this is their philosophy that Alex Cora and the coaching staff is ultimately implementing here, right? Like, or they're just following orders. So for them to bitch about David Hamilton in this, they're kind of yelling at themselves, aren't they?
Well, they traded him, which is, again, why I don't think they actually believe this. How can the front office argue, well, see, we never should have traded David Hamilton. He's better than Trevor Story. Guys, you were the ones who traded David Hamilton. So this is pettiness. It's a shot at Trevor Story. It's, guess how much you suck, buddy. We think David Hamilton is better than you.
Well, but this is why Cora had to go. And it's they're at Story here, Matt, but it's really being at Cora, right? I mean, that's what that is. If Trevor Story is Alex Cora's guy, then that's really the impetus behind here. I mean, the story is that they're squabbling over David Hamilton, who sucks. And while they have him, they're not even using him the right way. He goes to Milwaukee because there's none of this bull crap. They just know he sucks. Just another sucky Brewer who are going to have bunt and run and,
draw walks.
And draw walks and don't swing because you suck. And just run like the Dickens and bunt when we tell you to bunt. And we're not going to bicker about you because you suck and we know it. But you cost us nothing. So just bunt and run and shut up. We're here. He's like in the crosshairs between these guys because they can't get out of their own way because they're at each other's throats.
The infighting. It's the problem with the organization.
Which is why Cora had to go. Which is just another indication of why Cora had to go. Maybe Marcelo Meyer being held back. Maybe Roman Anthony being held back. This is why he had to go. And I'm not telling you that those kids may not have deserved it. Like, again, there's McCarthy's hinting at things behind the scenes with Marcelo Meyer. He's going to have to tell me in the break what he's talking about. But maybe those kids need a little bit of something that Cora was maybe trying to give them. But then again, was Cora's heart in the right place? I don't know if Cora's heart was in the right place. Was he busting Marcelo Meyer's balls because he thought that's what was best for the young kid? Or was he doing it because he wanted to make sure that Story still got his at-bats?
No, he was doing it for the wrong reasons. Everything he did were for the wrong reasons. Again, in this article, I think one of the major takeaways is Cora batted Story second. The front office had a problem with that. So all of a sudden, Story gets moved down in the order because he can't hit. Who does Cora then put up at number 2? Caleb Durbin.
Yeah.
To say, screw you guys. Oh, you want me to move my guy out of the 2-hole? Fine. I'll put the guy who sucks that you traded for, and I'll show it off.
Love it. Absolutely what he was doing. Who puts Caleb Durbin hitting 145 in the 2-hole?
A dysfunctional organization.
Someone who manages with 2 middle fingers.
Bingo.
Pointed at the front office.
So there were reasons why Alex Cora had to go. And I think that in his absence, you're seeing some of them. And that doesn't mean they're a good team. And that doesn't mean that Craig Breslow doesn't deserve it next. He deserves it next. But first things first, why did they fire the guy? Why are they justified in firing the guy? I think you're seeing some of the reasons. And I'm not even mentioning the fact that they won last night or have won 3 straight. That's off my list.
Oh, but I think last night's game could be used as an example as to why Cora had to go. I'll explain on the way back.
Okay, explain on the way back. I'm not even using that because that's cheap. But far be it for us not to.
I like being cheap.
Yeah, let's be cheap. Undefeated under the new guy. What's his name? Never mind. I don't want to know.
The Chad Sox, baby.
617-779-0985. 2 your calls after this. How did Marcelo Meyer sound right there?
Happy.
Boston's best sports talk. You can count on it.
2 plus 2 is a 5.
Me sento pappacchiato perché Roma
Felger and Maz.
Alex Cora was a made man in Boston. I still think that there might be more of the story here in terms of how this all went down and the behind the scenes and all that. I can't imagine the Red Sox went into this season thinking, hey, if they don't get off to a hot start, Alex Cora is gone. In April, maybe 15 minutes before I came on with you guys, another piece came out about, behind the scenes stuff. Julian McWilliams just put out a piece. So, already the hit pieces are coming, and then there's going to be counters to the hit pieces. People, because now there's platform.
They've won 3 straight?
Yep.
That's right. If they win tonight, it'll be 4.
Yep.
First time they've won 4 straight in a while.
Yeah, since last summer.
Okay, so I'm not even using that because that's cheap, Murray.
But I like being cheap because I thought that game last night was a complete opposite of what you've seen from this team as it was being managed by Alex Cora this season, maybe even before that. You tell me if I'm wrong on this assessment here, baseball boy. But after that Narvaez home run to make it 5-zip, it was a right decision to have Ranger Suarez, who had a no-hitter through 6, come back 8th inning. You think short leash Cora would have allowed that? He hits 2 more strikeouts. Weissert comes in, gets a clean 9th. And now whether it was Chad Tracy's decision or Craig Breslow or the Nerds, how that was managed, to me, was the right way. I don't think you see Suarez, who's been better lately, go that deep in that game if Alex Cora is still here. And not that I want to give this a-hole ownership and Craig Breslow too much credit, but they fire Cora, they fire Pete Fatsi, the hitting coach, and now the offense all of a sudden suddenly looks like a normal baseball team. That can't be random happenstance.
No, I mean, listen, they are still bums. They're not
Definitely.
they're not good enough in the lineup, but I do think we can give Tracy some level of credit for getting more focused at bats out of these guys. Now, how long that bump lasts, I don't know, but I do think that's a little bit of a bump from him. Not that I care too much about International League statistics. The Worcester Red Sox are number 1 in the International League in pitches seen. So that is a little bit of a philosophy. Obviously the Red Sox were not seeing any pitches. Last night, they worked 3 walks against Cease. He only struck out 5 guys. Red Sox have been striking out a million times a year. Cease is a strikeout guy. He has 49 Ks in 31 innings pitched this year. They made him throw 107 pitches in 5 2/3 last night. Is that sustainable? Probably not, because they don't have the talent for that to be sustainable. But don't tell me that isn't some level of focus and some level of, all right, guys, we're going to look at some pitches tonight. We're going to grind out a few more of these at bats. Just having a slightly different voice and a more professional approach in the dugout whatever it's worth.
And so Cease last night started to get, look, he turned it kind of into a mental puddle in the middle of that game. But how many times before we come in the next day and say, can you make these guys work a little bit? They made Cease work last night. Look, I'm with Matt. I don't want to pretend this team is something they're not. But they have looked more competent and competitive in the last few games. And I think that has to do with this little bounce with whether it's this new manager, Chad Tracy. But really what it comes down to is that Alex Cora is gone because he was checked out.
You know what I love as a talk show host as much as anything? The before and after comparison.
No, it's the best.
Oh, it's the scoreboard. It's like there's all the Cora people. There's all the anti-Cora people. Well, let's see what it looks like after he's gone. And then I love the pretzel twisting that if it looks worse for your guy, then it's, they added that player, and then this guy started to, and then that guy. No. There's a before and after. Let's see what I'm just primarily looking at the young guys right now. What the young guys look like, how they perform, how they're being used, and was it better or worse than it was under Alex Cora? And let's get a sample, and then let's say that he was part of the problem or was a non-factor, and is that okay?
No doubt.
Like, you live by it, you die by it, which I'm happy with. Listen, I've lost many of these. I thought when they fully inflated the footballs, Tom Brady wouldn't look the same way. Wrong. Okay. Win some, lose some. So if you think Alex Cora is not the problem, then you don't think he's the problem. If they perform better without him and there's clear differences between certain guys before and after, then you just be fair about it. Win some, lose some. It's okay. And so this is what I love about it. But the people that just can't take the loss, like that's what I really like.
And Cora's friends in the media?
Yes. So let's just see. That's all what it is. That's fair, isn't it?
Yeah.
Let's just see. So, it's way too early to draw any conclusions, which I'm not doing.
I'm just saying.
But we have a show to do today.
That Dylan Cease was one of the better pitchers in Major League Baseball last night, was having to work. He's barking at the umpire, looking for strikes a foot out of the zone, whereas in prior games, opposing pitchers are getting odd innings in 5 and 6 pitches. Like they're not even making these guys work. It's a different approach. It's looked like a different approach these last couple of games.
It's just one day, 2 days, and I'm just looking at Marcelo Meyer and just listening to him and looking at him, and is there a difference already? Pat in North Grafton. Go ahead, Pat.
Hi. I was listening yesterday, Mike, when you were talking about Cora's firing, and you listed several management areas that are, were Cora's responsibility that he was underperforming on. And I agreed with most of them, but in fact, all of them. But the thing that I was surprised at was that you never used the word leadership. You used the word manager. You manage things and lead people. And I think that Cora, especially in the last, year and a half, really lacked leadership.
Agreed. I'm going to cut you off. Thank you for the call. I agree. I mean, the number one job for these guys nowadays is managing personalities. And I think his own agendas and petty little inner office feuds got in the way of him managing the clubhouse properly, favoring certain guys over others. I like this guy. I don't like that guy. Your guy, my guy. Veteran, young kid, whatever the case may be. You want me to take this guy and take him out of the lineup? Fine. I'll take him out of the lineup and put your guy in the 2-hole who's hitting 145 just to show everybody what you've given me, like that sort of crap. So, yeah, I think that I don't think Alex Cora, when he first got here, was that. I think he devolved into that kind of manager. And when I say manager, I just don't mean like baseball manager. I mean manager of people. That's why he had to go. And I think
it felt like his baseline, again, with these young guys was, I don't want to manage them. I don't want to manage their bitchy personalities.
Didn't want to manage Rafael Devers last year either, and that's one of the reasons he's gone.
I mean, and if you can't do that, then why do we have you? Carl in South Boston. Hi, Carl.
Hi, just a couple quick points on Cora's future. I don't blame him for declining the Phillies job with they're already 10 games under 500. He can revisit that in the offseason, but I'm just wondering what you think about maybe Cora looking towards the offseason, those underachieving Yankees, they maybe say bye to Boone, and then what better way for Cora to give a middle finger to Breslow and go manage the Yankees to a division title?
Oh,
Thanks.
please do it. Please.
He's petty enough to do it, that's for sure.
Hell yeah.
Well, it's a good job. And it's not petty. I don't want to say if he went to the Yankees, would that be petty?
No, it's a good job.
It's a great job, and it would be competitive.
I mean, even more job security there than there was here for him. Boone's been there forever.
He should have been fired years ago.
Oh, my God, that guy's awful.
I'm all in favor of Alex Cora. And listen, I think it's not mostly. I think it's, a lot his doing. But if he thinks he was done wrong here, he thinks there are a bunch of bums here, he thinks he was done dirty and he wants to go to New York and shove it up their ass, great. Go to New York and shove it up their ass. That would be a great story. All for it, 100%. 617-779-0985. We continue after McTakey gets you updated here. I want to get to the gossip first.
Everything you said is right.
Felger and Mass, the Sports Zone.
Cunningham in the corner, no good. Stewart put it in with 3.4. Inbound to Bain. They'll dribble out the clock. Orlando takes a commanding 3-1 series lead over the 1-seed Detroit.
Like Jim Murray, I don't know, Matt, what you were doing last night. I did happen to watch a good portion of this ball game. My God, I was horrified.
Yeah.
I was appalled.
The East stinks.
Oh, my God.
I've got better things to do than watch Eastern Conference basketball, guys.
I had higher hopes. For Detroit anyway. Kind of a throwback team, defensive in your face, can win rock fights, which I know that's how they're built, but oh, my God. you have to be able to shoot a little bit. They suck.
Yeah, and even Cade Cunningham, their quote-unquote superstar, kind of sucks too. And I thought a lot about him this year and this team. I thought they might be too young. Maybe they get tripped up if they ended up playing the Celtics. But having issues with Orlando, who also can't shoot, by the way. But this Detroit team is Cade Cunningham and no one else that can make a shot. And now Cunningham, who I thought last night played like Tatum with jacking up shots with 6 seconds off the shot clock, and Jaylen Brown with 1 million turnovers. And on that, by the way, he is a turnover machine in this series.
Cunningham is?
The last 3 games, right? So game 2, 7 turnovers. Game 3, 9 turnovers. Last night, 8 turnovers. An absolute choke job. Like, he is no superstar.
Well, okay, go ahead.
And so, yeah, I just, like, it's the East stinks is really what it comes down to. The Celtics should coast to the finals again. I watched a good amount of this game and some other chunks of this series. And again, it's not like Orlando is all that good. That game offensively was watching the NBA in the early 2000s. It was wretched. But Detroit is too young, too flawed, and a fake fraudulent 1 seed. That the Celtics should coast out of this conference.
I don't want to blame Cunningham because the usage is, through the roof. It's all about him. Who else are you going to rely on? Tobias Harris? I know who's the big guy they have, the forward?
Stewart.
No,
Stewart.
No. Blanking. Jimmy, help me. Big fella. Duran. What's his name? Okay. Anyway, if you don't know,
Duran.
then if you're relying on me for this name, then we're really poor.
You're talking about Duran.
Duran. Duran's a nice piece, good physical player down low, but it's all about Cade Cunningham, right? So like, he's relied on to do everything. So I'm going to forgive him some of the shooting stuff, like the hero ball that you're talking about, or the turnovers, because if he's not going to do it, who's going to do it? But at what point, he's 24.
I know he's older, but they still have Duncan Robinson.
This is he's a spot-up three-point shooter. Like, he's not going to create his own offense. So it's all, I feel like it's all on this Cade Cunningham. And he is not, and I wonder if he ever will be, a high-end skilled offensive player. Feels a little bit like a throwback. And I know he's listed as a point guard, but he plays, he's got a physical guy, I think. And he just can't shoot. He just doesn't shoot well enough. And at this point, will he ever? But that's that's a bigger picture question about the Pistons going forward. I thought they were the kind of team that had the kind of makeup that could give the Celtics a hard time because they're defensive, get up in their face, et cetera, be that kind of team.
And Orlando's done that better than Detroit in this series. They've pushed them around.
Oh, is it bad? They couldn't complete a pass. Couldn't dribble, couldn't complete a pass. It was hard to watch. It was hard for me to watch that. So, like, that's the number 1 seed? They beat you 3 out of 4 times? But, I mean, that tells you the next round is everything. And I don't give the Knicks much of a chance. I didn't give them much of a chance last year. I don't give them much of a chance this year.
Maybe if they even make it there.
Right. I don't even know if they're going to make it there, Matt. I agree with you. I don't even know if they're going to make it there. So don't tell me you're not going to get to the NBA Finals this year. Don't tell me that. You don't think so, Matt?
I'm worried.
Why?
The Sixers series has worried me. It's the three-point shooting again. I mean, they've had 2 games in this series where they've shot 50-plus three-pointers. They lost 1, they won 1. I mean, so is it really just going to come down to this at the end? Is it going to be Missoula ball? I was encouraged in the regular season when they started to cut back the three-pointers to a slightly more responsible area in the low 40s. If we're shooting 50-plus a game, all you're doing is saying, well, we're going to win when we hit them. That's such a great way, to even the competition, to even the playing field.
I'm with you.
And the East is just trash. So, admittedly, this Sixers series has worried me. Game 1 was encouraging. Game 3 was encouraging because they won more of a rock fight type stuff. But 2 of the 4 games they've played in this series have been straight up Missoula ball. And it's the only thing that can bring the Celtics back to the field because the field stinks.
The only way you lose to any of these teams in the East is if you shoot yourself out of the game.
Never underestimate their stupidity. Don't do it.
And you said it was 2 games of 50. They shot a ton of threes in game 3 as well, which they won late by hitting a bunch of them. They were 20 of 47. And late in that game, they hit some really big shots from beyond the line. And Tatum was hot from beyond the line. I agree with you. You know how I feel about that. That is all fool's gold to me.
But I don't think it's going to end up tripping them up in this conference. I thought it might, and they still might get the Knicks in the second round, but they're tied up in their series with the stupid Hawks. Cleveland's tied up 2-2 with the Raptors. The East blows. Even if they're missing their shots and they're taking 50 and only hitting, or they're missing 37 of them, okay, you might drop a game or two in a series. I just don't see them losing to any of these teams in this conference.
I said the same thing last year, and it played out exactly this way. So I can't rule it out.
And listen, and I think that these performances, like, what does this last game tell you about the Celtics? Somehow the Sixers got their best player back and were worse. And it's obviously kind of easy to figure. The pace of play when it goes through Embiid versus Maxey is night and day. So it's like Maxey driving the engine was what they had going for him. And when Embiid comes back, it's like a whole different thing. So, like, they're worse with Embiid right now out on the floor. So the Sixers come out with Embiid. They can't put the ball in the ocean. You get hot, you win by 30 points. Like, what is that? Does that do anything for you?
Doesn't do anything for me.
I think it kind of sucks you into this thing, too, about just shooting threes. It kind of leads you down the road of that. It's fool's gold. I said it before. I said it again. If your game plan is to shoot more threes than twos, you are ultimately going to lose. I just can't see it coming to the Sixers team, to that Detroit team, to that Orlando team, to Cleveland, to Atlanta, to Toronto, and New York might have the only chance, but they're not in your class. You shouldn't be losing to these teams. The only way you lose is, you're right, Matt, the only way you lose is if you think that three ball is the way to go. You shoot yourself out of the game. It's the only way you lose.
So to me, the opponent actually doesn't matter in that scenario. And that's an oversimplification. Like, your whole point, the East sucks. Yeah, it does suck. But it's about you. It's not about the competition. If you go out and shoot, 10 for 52 from three, maybe anybody can win that game because you can't figure it out yourself. You're right, everybody else sucks, but do not underestimate the danger of Missoula ball.
You want to mix in some Celtics thoughts, NBA thoughts with the Red Sox, by all means. There's open lines at 617-779-0985. Back to you in our long commercial-free segment next.
Now, more of Felger and Maz. Now, on the Sports Hub.
Let's kind of take a deep breath and remember that John Henry, as owner, has never had an organization that he believed in stability and continuity. When Terry Francona won 2 world championships, he was fired. When John Farrell won a world championship, he was fired. Dave Dombrowski won a world championship, fired. Ben Cherington won a world championship for him, fired. This is just what he does. I mean, look, Alex Cora won that world championship in 2018, well respected. He's one of the best managers in baseball. But if you remember Theo Epstein, who also, after winning 2 world championships, parted ways with the Red Sox ownership. Now he's part of the ownership group. One of the things that Theo always said was he thinks there's a lifespan before you need to make a change. And he was the one responsible for the change with Terry Francona. When he went to the Cubs and won a world championship, he replaced Joe Madden, who had won a world championship with him. And he just believes over a period of time, a different voice is probably the better way to go. And so that's probably part of the reasoning here after 8 years that they've decided to part ways, Hakeem.
John Henry's turned into a bad owner. And you know it because he's rifling through field managers and chief baseball officers. And as we mentioned yesterday, pick any bad franchise in any league that every 3 or 4 years they have a new coach or a new GM. That's a bad owner. We say it about the Cleveland Browns. We say it about the New York Jets and the Miami Dolphins. We say it about, you name it. You name that team. The New York Mets. You name the bad organizations. That's what we say it about. Constantly rifling through managers and general managers. And after a time, after 10, 15, 20 years of it, what do you say? What's the common denominator? The owner. It's the owner. We know it's the owner. And I think Craig Breslow is just another stiff. Just another clone. Just another bot that has no feel for the game. He's managing off of spreadsheets and algorithms, and I have no use for Craig Breslow. I think he's no better, probably worse than Chaim Bloom, frankly.
I don't know about that. That's pretty aggressive.
I think he's worse than Chaim Bloom.
Would Chaim Bloom have traded for Garrett Crochet? Come on, Mike.
Might have, yeah.
No, he would not have.
Yeah, that was an ownership call. Craig Breslow doesn't have the right to trade some of their top prospects unless the owner says, go ahead and trade some top prospects.
Which of the two do you think other GMs take more seriously? Which of the two do you think can actually talk like a human being?
Oh, I think Chaim Bloom is very well liked. I don't think that makes him a good GM. I think Breslow's a better GM than Bloom, but I don't think Breslow is well liked.
I just think Breslow got the green light to trade, was it Teal? For
Kyle Teal.
For Garrett Crochet?
No, I think you're off the mark a little bit on
How long
this.
was he on the... Well, say, listen.
They got the green light to pay Crochet.
They got the green light to pay Crochet and give up a top prospect. I don't think... Craig Breslow was just on the job, right?
He'd been on the job a year.
Oh, so that was a year in?
Yeah.
Maybe he had gotten a little bit of juice.
He could trade for Crochet because Crochet still had cost control. But then the decision to pay Crochet and extend him, that's where ownership gets involved.
And it was a business deal. They had just lost out on Max Fried because they didn't want to go to 8 years and $200 million or whatever. So Crochet at 6 and whatever was a much better business deal for the team. That's why it happened.
I just think, Matt, that if Bloom were still here, maybe they would have done the same thing. 'Cause at some point, you do reach critical mass with it. And I think that if the organization was ready, then the GM gets the green light, and he does it.
Yeah, Bloom was a coward, and at least I will say Breslow is bold.
Oh, really? He's so bold that he has 5 outfielders for 3 spots because he's afraid to make a trade and lose a trade?
No, that's not bold at all. That's being a bad GM. I mean, he traded Rafael Devers. He fired the general man. I mean, he fired the manager.
He traded Rafi Devers.
Yeah, he did.
You think Craig Breslow traded Rafi Devers?
Yeah, I think Breslow was more than happy to ship him out of town.
Yeah,
ownership was involved in that.
Involved?
Oh, obviously.
They gave him the green light.
Yeah.
Involved?
I mean, just to suggest that Bloom and Breslow are the exact same because they are analytical and robotic ignores that Breslow is vengeful and has no problem whacking somebody or trading somebody, and Bloom was a coward and didn't want to do anything. Bloom was paralysis by analysis. Breslow has no problem putting a bullet in somebody's eye, Mo Green style.
Really? That's
Yeah.
why they have 5 outfielders still here, because he didn't want to lose a trade.
That's just a bad baseball decision.
Listen, I'll give you the inner office politics. Craig Breslow is far more cutthroat and willing to play the game than Chaim Bloom. Obviously, by recent events. I'll give that to you, for sure. But are they the exact same guy? No, not the exact same guy, but net, on a scale of 1 to 10, they're both a 3.8.
They both suck.
They both suck. And I do not give Breslow any credit at all for Rafi Devers, just as I don't give Chaim Bloom any blame for Mookie Betts. Those decisions were not made at their level at all. So, no. And I think the green light to trade a top prospect for a guy like Garrett Crochet also comes from up top.
Yeah, I'll disagree on that. I think it comes down to money on that.
Well, obviously on money, but also the willingness of what direction are we going in? And if Craig Breslow, a year into the job, they give him a wink and say, don't be afraid now to start to leverage some of our prospects. You have the green light. We've been building to this point, and now we're here, and these guys are coming, and we have a surplus. So if you see something, go ahead and make that. You can make that move. And maybe the directive to Chaim Bloom was just the opposite. We're gonna stockpile till we get to the point that we feel comfortable pulling the trigger.
Well, I mean, Bloom's doing the exact same thing in St. Louis, so that's who he is. Why is Wilson Contreras here? Because Chaim Bloom doesn't want good players on his roster. Why is Sonny Gray here? Because Chaim Bloom doesn't want major league players on his roster. So I do think there's some nuance in this discussion, but the whole thing is you're right. They both suck. They're not good, but I do think they are slightly different in their approaches.
Dominic is calling us now on line 3. He calls us from France. I thought I read that. Dominic in France. Go ahead, Dominic.
Bonjour.
Yeah, bonjour, guys. So I feel like I'm back in the good old days in Boston. The Patriots are in the Super Bowl, mired in a cheating scandal. The Bruins are pissing down their pants in the playoffs, and the Red Sox have more a-holes than a Fenway bathroom, which is really the most impressive part of all of this. Is no matter which direction you look at the Cora firing, there's an a-hole. Cora's an a-hole because he's been one for 5 effing years. The players are a-holes for being their whiny, bitchy selves. Breslow is an a-hole for being a dweeb. And ownership are a-holes for hiding behind in the corner, behind Vrabel banging the sideline reporter. Just like always, we're right back to where we started 15 years ago. Welcome back, everybody. Boston's back in the business.
Yeah, it feels good to be home. I would say that reading up on the Red Sox over the weekend, it was like one unlikable piece after the next. From Cora himself, this victory lap that he's taking after failing and getting fired and being a part of a last place team, to strut around like he's strutting around
emailing everyone. Reply all. The cores will be just fine with the internal email. Happy it is. It's the other one we forgot about too. On the day that he got fired, on his Instagram stories, he put a clip of Mookie Betts being, talking about being traded at the time, which was like, again, another passive aggressive post.
Oh my God. So low class and tone deaf and so just unaccountable. You were part of a last place team and you're celebrating? Jerk. From John Henry and Sam Kennedy, who are so lacking in human skills that when they go and meet not the press, the players to announce the firing, they stand against the wall in the corner of the room and don't say anything. Worms. Absolute completely lacking in any human skill and any what?
And any conviction. I mean, they're your employees. Explain to them why you just made these moves.
Could you be more wormy than that? Standing against the wall in the corner of the room to the players, Trevor Story, wanting to have a word with the general manager and questioning the direction of the team. This guy who sucks. From the players carrying on. It was hard to find a good guy in the whole thing. Absolutely. One a-hole after the next. Absolutely right. Ken in the car, quickly.
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking my call. I mean, the Cora firing, it was coming, obviously, but I didn't expect Chad Tracy to level up from AAA and take over the helm. I thought it was going to be maybe Veritek, but then he gets reassigned. And then a quick point on Breslow. That dude needs to get shipped out of Boston. That's all I wanted to say, guys. Thanks for the call. Love
yeah. But there's going to be the next guy. The next guy is going to be just the same. Going to be same mold, same cookie cutter, same management style, same thing. So absolutely try and find me a better nerd. But don't be mistaken into thinking there's going to be some sort of course correction about how they're running the team. There won't be. And the nerd will probably be low quality because no one wants the job and they're probably not paying. And so, like Craig Breslow, it's probably going to be the 10th of 10 guys. So, yeah, see you later, this guy. But the next guy is going to not be any better. Trust me on that.
The only saving grace is Cora is not here anymore, and that is slightly better for the GM who's coming in.
And this I would say, when you're like people are sort of spitballing like celebrity managers or big name managers, the next manager, and again, and not that I hate the analytics and I hate these freaking guys running baseball teams. I can't stand them. But that's who's going to be running the team. So the guy that manages the team better be willing to just deal with that guy. Because this thing was silly. This thing got silly between Cora and Bloom and now Cora and Breslow. So if you're going to hire like a real baseball guy who's going to push back against the nerds, like
it's oil and water. It doesn't mix.
It doesn't work.
No. You're more likely to get what's going on with the San Francisco Giants, a guy that was managing a college team.
So you need someone compliant with that, and some nerd in the dugout too. If you might as well just embrace the philosophy and get the most out of it. And as entertaining as the back and forth can be, and the backbiting can be, and the infighting can be for a talk show, it's not good for your baseball team. It's no way to run a baseball team. Continue with your thoughts on this. 617-779-0985. Got to follow up on Vrabel, the Patriots, and the tabloids, because that's where this team now resides. Again, luckily for us. McCarthy gets you updated. 90 seconds, no commercials.